Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Marshall here, bringing you another best of 3 series of 1 versus 1s between top players in Planetary Annihilation. This time we have AdmiralGeneral in white on the North Spawn using MLA, going bots first as you'd expect. In the pictures there you can see the builds, and on the South Spawn here we've got Metapod, also MLA, but going air first. Rather controversially. You don't tend to see air first a whole lot. Going for the air fabber first, so he's going to try and get this air fab straight out of the park early on to try and get up some of that early expansion sneakily before some interceptors pop out from AdmiralGeneral, who meanwhile is doing another strange build. Lobs! It's lobber time! A little bit of air factory coming up thereafter. 2 air factories, of course, noting the importance of air in PA. And on a map such as Amazon Safari, there's a lot of resources and expansions that you can be raiding. Oh, you even got... so it's not going for expansion, it's going for a naval factory. Very, very quick one indeed. Let's see how that works out. I'm going to need to change my settings for casting, I feel, so that we can see the build orders and not have this green haze. It's a bit repulsive, isn't it, really? But the lob's up, the docks are on their way, and what does Metapod have to deal with this? He's still getting out his combat fab so he can reclaim his comm for that lovely juicy 30 mechs. Stalling a little bit on metal there, so will this build pay off for him? He's got 2 air fabs out at the moment, and I feel as though that is not yet supported by his economy. It is a risky strategy, and Admiral now has the docks on the field. Going for his air factory though, he will be able to now start chasing up these air fabs. Once these have finished their construction orders, they really need to be protected, because otherwise there's a whole lot of death that's going to happen and a whole bunch of expansions that are going to be repelled and cancelled out. The moment Admiral sees these air fabs, he's going to have a look around and send some interceptors crawling, or not crawling, careering that way to pick them up. Got 2 nice middle expansion points there from that air fab. But here comes the interceptor now just to pick these off. He doesn't want to go directly over the comm, otherwise it will get taken down in the process. That was a miss micro there from Admiral. A little bit of a mix up there, and this time hopefully it'll go off in a different direction. Indeed. Oh, maybe not. All the same, what AdmiralGeneral's strategy here is to generally just contain Metapod. Metapod's got himself off to a little bit of a slow start. Bomber trying to stay alive, it will not do so. Interceptor coming down here for the air fab that it knows is sitting around. And it's just going to head up north. It's going to take out the other air fab, but it's done its job. The naval factory is ready. And so Metapod now can focus on his base, as well as, of course, his naval expansion. He's got a naval fab out already, getting some Galata. He might even pop up a torpedo launcher there. But what I suspect is that he'll really want to get in here with some of those, what are they, piranhas, is it? Yeah, piranhas and orcas to try and shell AdmiralGeneral's original base before he can get up some naval of his own. Of course, in response to that threat, torpedo launcher. Lovely choice. Can, of course, build them on landing Titans, so you can lob the missiles into the water. So Metapod now, it's on him to decide how best to deal with Admiral here. He knows he needs a second air factory. So let's see what he sees in Admiral's base. He sees he has 3 air factories, so he knows that he needs to contest air and is thus going to get up a few more air factories of his own. Has he queued up a 3rd? Indeed he has there. So he wants to equal Admiral. He's not going to play for the superiority. He just wants to contest it and make sure that Admiral doesn't get the snowball. Of course, Admiral on the other hand, getting his docks blobs up here and everywhere. Got some docks here, taking down some expansions. Nice. To get rid of that Galata. Don't go and aggro on the docks. It wasn't necessarily controlled, so they will go re-aggroed on what is there. Piranha's starting to lay some coastal siege, but you can see that torpedo launcher putting in the work there. Torpedoes taking down these piranhas as they desperately try and take out this naval factory before it's too late. And another torpedo comes in to take this lot out. Meanwhile, though, we can start to see Admiral's air superiority. And of course, that is the fault of Metapod for being a little slow at the start there, with some strange mix-ups of strategy. So we'll just see how this works out for him. We are probably getting on for minute 5 or so now. Indeed, minute 6, I would expect to see some T2. We have already seen the T2 Naval from Metapod. Wonder whether we'll see some T2 bots or the vehicle transition from Admiral anytime soon. Possibly even the T2 Air, of course that is now in meta. For the Kestrels, and on a map like Amazon Safari where you have such diverse and varied and spread out expansions, the Kestrels with their mobility and DPS are pretty decent choices here, it has to be said. Has to be said. Of course he's trying to get up to his expansions again, floating a bit of metal, get up in the metal storage. You don't need to open with metal storage because with your commander and your early fabs you'll be spending that metal. Of course, if you are using the com reclaim strat the moment you start to float, that is when you stop reclaiming, because otherwise then you're just basically harming your commander for no economic gains whatsoever. AdmiralGeneral yet to start out with the bombers, going T2 bots now as well. We'll probably see slammers and maybe some locusts too. But yeah, he's yet to really come into the game with the bombers. He's still going full on hummingbirds. What does he know of Metapod's build? He knows he's got 3 air factories. Hence why I think he queued up a 4th somewhere. Oh, he's re-queued it. Never mind. So he's just going to try and maintain air control, or at least contest it. Both teams here doing that. The Navy there with some Barracudas. Metapod desperately trying to get up his T2 Navy. With only a single fab, so it's going to take a little bit of time. But as long as he holds this corridor of water here, he should be okay. He's got the Galata to defend, and there's no bombers really coming out from AdmiralGeneral either. One thing, of course, you can do is transition to vehicles, get your vehicle fabber out, get your T2 going, and then start up with some drifters. That can often throw some people off, because a lot of people don't expect the drifters to come out and do some naval raiding, particularly if they bank on only air being the threat to naval expansion like this. Seldom used, but can be quite effective if you catch people off guard with it. Air trade's beginning. There we go. Of course, they know the contest is still kind of in the balance. Admiral here, of course, with the superior force, but Metapod on the home turf with Galata. Admiral, of course, insisting on flying over it. Sees the T2 Naval, but it's almost complete. Probably want to get a bit more build power on his T2 bots there. He's got a couple of idle fabs which I suspect were there to support assisting it, especially with his metal income. Or are they going for expansion? They're on the move for expansion by the look of things, or more factories. Let's go into the main picture here and see. What are they to do? Are they just going around getting the metal? I think they are. Either that or they're supporting and helping. There we go, yeah. That's curious to be sending so many fabs to do that. And it does have to be noted that Metapod is a little slow in the land expansion game. What is to be noted though, almost finished his T2 bot factory, so therefore he'll be able to defend against Admirals. What does he see of Admirals? He does see that the T2 bots is there, hence his response. In fact, what? Was that reclaimed or did that decay? That is not good. I have a feeling it might have been reclaimed. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. In comes the air for a little bit of a scout. He doesn't see the bot factory anymore. He does see the second one. And he sees a big naval cesspool over here. He's not going to like that. Pumping out more ships than someone playing battleships, really, but there you go. Some locusts now, though, for a little bit of raiding. These will be effective against, well, certainly these. They don't want to necessarily go into the base just yet. There's too many defensive docks lying around, and now, of course, Admiral is aware of the locust threat, unless he's not paying attention. The Locusts will be able to deal quite nicely with these expansions. Admiral has not protected these Fabbers here. Are they going to answer it with a quick point defense? No, they're not. He's just retasked a Fabber to instantly go and re-expand. Look, the last place you check for an expansion is one you've literally just destroyed. Really great move here from Admiral to do this. Fantastic play. Kestrels go down, but there's more coming out, of course. Slammers as well as Kaijus now. AdmiralGeneral still very, very heavy in the air game. He's getting some good free expansions, and he's even managing to fortify them there. You can see the builds for the expansion there as he's popping up a couple of turrets. He's only got one... he hasn't even got a Galata there. My. How very curious. Locust popping in, though they will get taken down by these point defense. Admiral is on the case. He's got point defense defenses. He's yet to build slammers. Going more for the eco at the moment, giving Metapod a little bit of an opportunity to push in here. He'll take a little bit of damage to his expansions as a result, but by the time that Metapod really starts to dish out damage, he should have a response to this. He's got the air, so it's just a case of popping out a couple of bombers. And the docks need to group up before engaging these slammers plus kaiju, because that's a long range and high DPS at short range. That's not nice to have to deal with that. See those docks struggling a little bit there against all those. Pushing into the base here. If this does a lot of damage to this power gen field, that's not good news for Admiral. He has got a couple of T2P gens up at the moment, so he has got a little bit of a buffer if these do go down. Kaiju kind of out of position as with the slammers, but it's still just going to lay damage, and it's going to mind its business. There's just nothing really threatening it at the moment, only a couple of bombers now. And a whole bunch of forest fire. Lovely, lovely. Of course, that buys Metapod a little bit of time to get up his own T2 eco. Metapod now in the lead for eco games. But map control... still, I'd say the AdmiralGeneral has that for the time being. Slammers at risk of bombers. Oh, they need to start mixing in either some spinners, or Metapod really needs to get into the air game. We've got how many air factories now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7th coming up as well. Metapod needs to scout out to see how many he can see. He sees the regular ones. He's going to go straight, and then he's going to lose all his air as a result. No! Down it goes for Metapod. That was not the best move, to just fly straight through that armada. That fleet. Did he see these extra air factories? No, he did not. That is unfortunate. I think he is perceptive enough, as is any good player, to be able to know when you need more air factories. And he's putting up a few there. Getting himself back into the air game. Those docks left that Galata alive. Curious. Kaijus now, of course, they need their narwhal support. I'm surprised we haven't got any coming out yet. It really does surprise me. Narwhals are beautifully efficient against bumblebees. We're going up to a third T2 bot factory here from AdmiralGeneral. Slammers ahoy! Slammers ahoy. And notice this. He's keeping them back. He's holding them back not only for defense, but also so that when he pushes out, he has a large force of them. And so here, while they're good against these odd random docks that, I don't know, decide to have a dance with death, he's now got enough slammers here that this is quite a threatening force for someone who really doesn't have a significant ground defense here. When you look at the army tab there, Metapod, down by about 60 units. And that's a combination of air and land here. Most of Metapod's investment has been in the naval so far. And now as these slammers move in, he's going to realise he's in a little bit of a pickle. Of course, his air is useless against them, because AdmiralGeneral will support this. Here he comes. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Down goes all of Metapod's air. That is out of the picture. And the slammers close in now on the T2 bot factory. Desperately trying to get up a few of these defences, but there's no walls to stop the DPS on those turrets. Assisting this factory here to make sure that it keeps alive as long as possible. Doc's moving in to soak the turret's DPS there. And the slammer comes out to start dishing damage to the slammers that are focused on the factory here. Of course, AdmiralGeneral with his air still laying siege to the expansion. And Metapod with some rather efficient defense there, it has to be said, manages to hold that off. The problem is the next wave is forming. The T2 air is on the way. And the Navy just isn't making enough of a hole. I think the Kaiju was even firing over those mountains. What? And what on earth is this spray? What are you... What? What? Some long-range spraying there from those Fabras. Of course, Admiral now knows he has the air superiority. He's popping out some air fabs to go and expand. He's getting a larger number of bombers in his force. He's getting bolder. And Metapod here really needs a good answer to this, and air fabs are not the answer. Oh dear, we've got Barracudas on Metapod's T2 naval installation. There's not enough torpedoes to deal with that. And anything that's trying to be built out of there is just instantly destroyed. The air fabs are building these torpedo launchers close enough, and Metapod there. Again, I think, not having the right units on the field at the right time. First it was Narwhals, then it was Barracudas. Always have a balanced force if you can. Unless you know you're going to go for the win. Bombers with a bit of free reign over the base here. Just need a couple of Galata. Would be nice. This will be really nice. This will be really quite nice. Oh, just bring him over the Galata, you plum. Here we go. Doing a bit of damage there. Not too much, not Galata, sorry, flak. Oh, needs more air. He's trying to get up his T2 air, but the problem is being so late to actually keep up with the air game. He's going to leave himself exposed to ground assault, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. And the pendulum swings back. Of course, you don't necessarily want pendulum swings. You want a gradual rise across all facets of your army. And I think it's merely a matter of time now before Metapod concedes the game. AdmiralGeneral there pulling away with the eco, about double. And in the army too. Oh, that is a fantastic disparity there. And the air game is just far, far too late. Even with the Phoenix. Even with the desperate attempt to get the T1 air. It's just not enough. Oh dear. It's been some really great episodes of defense here though from Metapod. Unfortunately, with the slammers being amphibious, I don't think there's long left for this commander. As Metapod is forced to even turtle here. When you're at this level of play and you're forced to go on such hard defense, you know that you are like Sisyphus, I think it is, trying to roll that boulder up the hill without success. Great game there from both of these players. Could have gone either way for a little bit of time there in the middle. AdmiralGeneral with, I think, the superior long-term strategy, pulled out the win. On to game 2 now. Can Metapod bring it back to an equaliser? Let's find out. Game 2 between Metapod and AdmiralGeneral here. AdmiralGeneral on the south spawn, Metapod on the north. AdmiralGeneral in white. Going for Naval first with MLA. Meanwhile, on the north, south spawn, orientate myself correctly. We've got Metapod going Naval first with Legion. Dichotomy at last. Legion there, of course, with 2 air factories following up. So we're going to have some Marauder play, I suspect. Possibly even some Daunt. Oh, no, he's requeuing. What's he up to here? Early Expo. Not fussing too much with his comm. Trying to get less walking. There, you see, he's getting his build so that he doesn't have to walk so far with his comm. Always a good decision. Legion coming out with the RAS. Combat Fab sub for the comm reclaim. Of course, I believe that gives you 40. But of course, it does knock down the comm's health much, much faster. Look at that. 96 already. Whereas AdmiralGeneral's only getting 30. Never mind. 45 from Barnacles. Huh! I did not know those values, but now I do. Huh. Ignore what I just said. Down to 92% already, so yeah. That's the difference, going for 3 air factories, so he wants the air game to himself. Of course, getting the naval expansion out there. Piranha's out to scout and see if they can pick off some expanding fabs. We've got some catfish out here from Legion, of course. Quite fast themselves. Trying to take point, so to speak. And we've got some... I can't even remember these unit names, it's been so long. Scythes, and that is a Marauder there. Going for a little bit of raiding here, so he sees no air support. In comes the Marauder. Pop, pop, pop on the fab, pop on the fab, pop, 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 pop on the fab, and away. Off to the next fab. Lovely play here from Legion. This is exactly the sort of play you'd expect from a good Legion player. Down goes another fab. Will the Scythe defend the Marauder? No, it doesn't. The Scythe does kill the Hummingbird. Where's the next Marauder, please? Legion going up for a 3rd air factory. Not even rushing for T2. Doesn't need to. As long as he contains naval expansion, he will be fine. So far we don't have a huge amount of naval expansion from Metapod. He's 1 mechs behind by the look of things. So over here, what? We have a catfish, which is ready to lop off a fab that comes to try and build anything on here. An Admiral playing very, very defensively. Look at this. He's having to take time to rebuild his naval fabs to send them back out again. And as he's sending them out, he is defending them with everything he's got. His air's gone for a walkabout, though. Oh. If these piranhas can get some lucky fab picks here, this will be glorious. In comes the Scythe now, though, and a Dauntless instead. Dauntless is the bomber rather than the sort of gunship. Oh, beautiful, look at this. Dauntless doesn't want to get too close to the comm. It got a little too close for comfort there. What have we got here, though? We've got a catfish waiting to pick off the fab, and it will do so. Again, Metapod just right on point here with this containment game. Giving him free expanding even with an air fab instead of a naval. This is fantastic. Going up for a 5th air factory here. He knows the snowball is rolling. He wants to roll with this snowball. He wants this game. He wants the equalizer. Will he get it? AdmiralGeneral now up to 5 air factories and going for a 2nd naval now. He thinks that's more than enough. Surely. Surely I don't need any more air factories than that at this point in the game. Regardless, I need more naval factories. And the Legion is everywhere. The air is really quite dangerous with Legion. Dauntless is powerful, the Marauder is fearsome. The sides do, of course, have the weakness that they can only fly forwards. But in comes Admiral General's air here. He's going to see this T2 air factory. He's going to take out the air fabs. I think he might have even done a little bit of damage to that air factory. That air fab did not get killed. The hitbox from this air factory, I think, saved that air fab. That's quite a miracle there, and I think something that needs to be addressed. I don't know, we'll have to go back to frame by frame to see how that happened. All the same, Admiral now pushing in a little bit here with his piranhas, trying to take down a little bit of the expansion here. Both teams stalling for metal a little bit. Metapod doesn't want to be reclaiming for too much longer now, though. His comms down to what, 34%? What's Admiral up to? At a 56, but he's not reclaiming. He knows he needs to get that expansion going, but the catfish... The shoal of catfish there looks rather scary. And here is the Legion mopping up the aggressive forces. He knows that perhaps I don't need to push into the base anymore. And if I do, I risk losing my forces. And as Legion forces tend to be stronger and more expensive, I don't want to throw them away. I'm going to cautiously move in. See what I can see if there's anything I can pick off. I don't want to overcommit to an offensive here where I could lose unfavourably. And here's the Air Force. He'll want to turn tail and run, or is he going to commit and fight? Looks like he's committing and fighting, but the Hummingbirds, I think, have the superior numbers there, and that is exactly what I mean. He lost that entire Air Force for not a huge amount of gain, if you ask me. He did see that the T2 Naval is going up, though, so that is at least a little saving grace. But I think that was very, very premature there. Perhaps not so great of a move there from Metapod, but he does, of course, still have his air factories and his T2 now coming up with a Lockheed gunship. Is he just going to go and try for the comm snipe here? Or is he going to go for the control game? I suspect a little bit of both. The control game to mop up a few of these piranhas. Ho ho ho. This is an interesting game from the Legion player indeed on a naval map like this. F-arms, no! Down they go. No shredders for you, my friend. More airfabs down. No metal extraction for you, my friend. And more airfabs down. No metal extraction for you. We do not yet have the Legion AA T2 anti-air T2. I forget the name of it. We've got an infiltrator there for the scouting if he decides, if he so wishes. I think is it what, the Firebird or something like that? The T2 air long shot anti-air thing. I forget. If it's used, we'll see it. Aha, it is! There we go, what is it? It is the Firebird! Round of applause for me, please. Coming out with the catfish now, just pushing in, seeing if they can get some stuff. There is, of course, the torpedo launcher there that will start raining damage in from afar. Takes 2 hits to kill a catfish. And they can move in and deal with that torpedo launcher in good time here, I think. It's going to be close. It's going to be a trade. These piranhas now, though, can move across if they so desire. Not piranhas, catfish. Ugh. Need to get my name game back on point. Aha! We've got Stokes in the water. We've had a vehicle transition from Legion, so the Stokes are going to start raiding with their torpedoes from under the sea. And a little bit of confusion there. That Stoke driver is clearly drunk. What is he doing? Air trade battle there, though. We've even got some... I forget the name of those as well. The void things. Novas. The area of effect. Really good for if you have a lovely dogfight and you can keep the enemy's air inside the bubble. It'll just deal constant damage. It's like a permanent flak It's not permanent, but you know what I mean. More Novas there. You see the bubbles go down. Yeah, gets out of dodge. Ah, these air fabs taking the hits. The scythes swoop in and lose a few shots, but there you see the air fab wandering into the Nova bubble. Down it goes, but we've got piranhas moving into the base now. We've still got the expansion being controlled by Metapod. And we've got the Stokes dealing with the piranhas. They're the perfect counter to piranhas, it has to be noted. Really perceptive use of composition there from Metapod. AdmiralGeneral down to 11%. I wonder whether that was a Lockheed snipe attempt. But we've got how many here? We've got 2. Are they going to go for it? Are they going to go for it? T2 Naval Fab is out. We're going to have the air trade that secures the victory here for Metapod. Or will AdmiralGeneral buy himself some more time? He's got some Orcas out on the field now as well. He just needs a few more air factories, I feel. He's a little bit behind in the T2 air game. Lockheed's doing damage to these expansions, warranting a response from Admiral, I think. Oh, they're standing in the Nova blobs! Oh no, the Novas! Perfect! The air disappeared, the Lockheed flees back through the Nova blob, which kills off another hummingbird. Ah. I feel as though the Lockheeds are probably better kept for not being in such circumstances. Orcas dealing damage to the expansions, of course, themselves now. Comes Legion. Wants some blood. How's Admiral's air doing? He realizes, nah, I don't want to go in yet, but I have to. But I don't want to, but I have to. Oh no. Not great news, and now there is a large DPS to ground force soaring through the air, and Admiral's commander is on barely on double digits in terms of vitality there. Up to 3-4 Lockheeds, a couple of Firebirds and a lot of Novas, plus a few Dauntless and Marauders in there too, I think. Here we go. The Commander Snipe is real. Down it goes. Really well played there from Metapod. Fantastic game of control. First-rate Legion control play right there for a naval game. Exemplary. On to game 3. Who will win this best of series? Best of series? Best of 3 series? In the last 1v1 between Metapod and AdmiralGeneral. It's time for game 3, the decider. Between AdmiralGeneral on the south spawn here in White MLA. Bots first. And Metapod on the north spawn here. Clay. Orange. Pink. MLA. Bots first, air second. Of course you can see the builds in the pips there. It's Classy Baron. And it's the decider. This planet has nothing in the way of obstructions, abundance in the way of expansions, and 360 degrees in the way of approach vectors. Metapod there, going double bots, double air. AdmiralGeneral, though, still taking it a bit slow and steady. Not yet queuing up a whole lot of stuff. Getting his expansions up, and even we can even see already at his expansion. He's going to be putting up these static defences, of course. Can be worth it against Doc's raids. I suspect we might even see some lob play here from AdmiralGeneral. Could work out for him. Tend to see a lot of lobs played on Classy Baron because of the distance between the bases, or lack thereof, as well as the ability to raid expansions from pretty much any direction. And of course with lobs it gives you the ability to raid very, very early on in general. Boombots out for our Metapod. Metapod. These are going to be looking for expanding fabbers. This is actually a really sneaky way of getting around some fabber snipes there. Started to see a lot of pro players use it a lot more often now. We have got lobs here from Admiral. And what have we got down south? We've got a couple of expanding fabbers that are unprotected. In comes a boombot, it will connect here. Down goes a fab and loses that expansion immediately. It needs to retask a fab or get another fab to do so. 2 lobs queued and 4 air factories total queued. But with the boombots there, it looks like Metapod is once again going for the control game. Also with the sparks to try and deal with the docks. Of course, when he scouted earlier, he didn't see the lobs. But I think he knows AdmiralGeneral. I think he knows the map. And I think he therefore knows that lobs are going to be a thing. Sparks coming out, dealing a bit of damage there. Ooh. Just supporting those docks quite nicely because he only has 2 factories and doesn't have a lob so far. Very, very centralized base there. Air coming out on the south for a little bit of scouting there from Metapod. Seeing where the expanding fabbers are for potentially another snipe. No more boombots, however, to do so. But all the same, it's good to keep tabs on where your opponent's expansion for future raids. We've got 2 lobs up now. Does Metapod see them? He does. So he knows that there's going to be a lot of docks heading his way. We've got some good sparks. They should be able to do a fair bit of damage. The docks chasing the sparks now. Pretty nice. Sparks unfortunately hitting the ridge of that crater. And the dock's going to be able to move in quite nicely and potentially deal a fair bit of damage to this T2 factory that they don't see. They do not see that T2 factory. That must have been incredibly close. Instead, they're going to look up here for a bit of expansion. Never mind. Bomber comes in. Out goes the across the line. Bomber comes back. Gets picked off, though. Meanwhile, of course, Metapod's saying, it's okay, I can defend against that. I'm going to push in and do some raiding. Sparks coming down here. They will get there before that turret's built, and the fab will go down, as will the expansion. The bomber is there, though. The docks are not going to take care of it, so the bomber's going to get a nice couple of passes there before it is ultimately killed. T2 a little late for Admiral. A little slow, and he doesn't see, of course, Metapod's T2. Metapod, of course, doesn't see Admiral's T2, but Metapod is there. He's got his T2 ready. He's got a slammer out first. No fabs first today. It's all about aggression. Come hell or high water, Metapod wants to win this game. AdmiralGeneral going for a more meta strat. Lobs into T2 bots here. General localized expansion around. Waiting for the docks. He doesn't want to push in just yet before he's ready. Sees the slammers. Pulls back. Docks around the North Pole as well. Potentially do a lot of damage with that raid. Docks getting kited here by slammers. Not great news. Slammer hasn't even taken any damage yet. Lobs continue to pump out and supplement the Docks force here. Admiral's air, though, still contestable to Metapod. Docks come in. Looks like they've picked off a few fabs there, but it's only 2 left. And 1 dancing dock. There's not enough to deal with that. He gets focused down too damn quickly. Oh no! Meanwhile, of course, in the middle of the field here, we have a rather good defensive force of docks that, as long as they don't get killed off by those sparks, they should be able to rush those slammers and deal with them. Nice to see the odd spinner mixed in there for the bit of air support. rather anti-air support. We have got a few defensive bumblebees coming out now from Admiral, who's strangely forced on the defensive. When you get forced on the defensive like that in Classy Baron, you know there's potentially a problem there, and the bumblebee's focusing down the slammer instead of the spinner, and will pay the ultimate price. More spinners coming out now, though perhaps a few too many. Skitters as well. He saw the combat fab. There's no mines being made, but better safe than sorry. Good move here from Metapod. A lot of skitters. Not only do they see the mines, but they also give you the vision range. He now knows what's going to be coming at him from a greater distance. See, Metapod knows he's got the control on this game so well that he's even getting some air fabs going around. It does have to be said, though, that Admiral is defending admirably. He's got his eco in shape as well. He's getting his own expansions, and he's popping up defences for them too. Just needs to get his T2 supplemented into his forces, and then he really will have a good defensive bulkhead. Here we go, as Metapod will move in here. You see the vision that these skitters afford him. You can see this from far away. He knows, okay, I need to pull away now. The thing is, he's paired his stuff up with slower moving things. As a result, it's not great. It's a good strategy here, a good tactic to have all of these smaller forces spread out, because what you can see is he's forcing Admiral to swing to and fro to defend, kind of leaving him exposed where his defensive force isn't. And so he's getting these nice picks on these expansions. He's 4 skitters and 3 docks. There's not a lot of DPS in that army. Admiral's learnt his lesson. He's focusing down that spinner, leaving the rest of that army. Oh no, the bombers get caught. The bombers get caught out by those hummingbirds there. Good news for Metapod. Of course, Admiral still manages to defend and expand at the same time. You've got the T2 vehicle transition now from Admiral, and Metapod sees both with that lovely pesky skitter. Admiral's not going to be happy about that. And I think he realises he needs to get another T2 factory up. Instead goes for air instead of vehicles, however. Ooh, that commander is very weak. That's a 10% health commander. Ooh. Whoa. Admirals, however, 49%. But with T2 air, he'll be able to have Kestrels, which will be perfect. The perfect answer for expansion on Classy Baron that has focused so much on ground defense. Because with Metapod's aggression, he's kind of tricked Admiral into thinking, okay, I'm pushing at you with every bit of ground I have. I'm not pushing at you with massive ground, I'm pushing at you with raiding level ground. So if you only need to put up a few point defences for anti-ground, you're going to be fine. Until I send Kestrels at you in a big surprise. And then all your expansion's gone, providing I can support the Kestrels with my air. That's what Metapod needs to be able to do. He needs to be able to protect his Kestrels from these hummingbirds. If he can do that, he has free reign on all of Admiral's expansion round here, and that is a significant amount of expansion. That's more than 100 mechs worth of expansion there. And again, coming in. There we go, one spinner goes down, but the slammers are still there, still laying siege. Still got the spinner picking off a few, rather dealing a little bit of damage to the hummingbirds. Not a huge amount, but enough. There we have the Kestrels coming out now. Can he keep them safe? He's got enough hummingbirds sat sentry in his base that he can do just that. Even popping out a few Phoenix as well, and the T2 vehicle transition there as well, so that he can answer Admiral. Admiral deciding, okay, I need the air game, I need to... Ooh, another T2 vehicle factory. His eco can support it, so why not? Bombers coming out now, again forced to defend Metapod. It's rather a little bit of mind games going on here from Metapod. Really, really great games. Another expansion potentially raided there. But in come the Kestrels on the other side. The thing is, Admiral's air is kind of building up. He's got a few too many bombers in there now, considering he knows that T2 air is going to be a problem for him. The thing is, with his production T1 air factories there, he'll soon have more than enough hummingbirds to deal with the T2 air, I feel. T2 vehicles there will start to spit out levelers, possibly even shellers. Considering the slammers are going to be taking the shots. Levelers instead. Leveler and leveler. Have to fight fire with fire, of course. And here come the Kestrels again. Looking at Admiral's eco. Fortunately, he can start setting up T2 eco in his base now, though. That is the saving grace here. The air, though. Kestrels are going to go and disappear here. Bombers potentially caught out in the open. They will be. And the Phoenix really putting in some work there. Locking down Admiral really nicely. Boombots as well for raiding potential. Not only that, but also for anti-vehicle potential here. Skitters wandering in. T2 vehicle fab gets nicely sniped. And in come the slammers. Can they take down this T2 vehicle factory? If they can, that'll be a pretty big win for Metapod at this stage in the game. Considering he has just transitioned himself. Fab's going down as well. No more air factories for you on that queue. A T2 vehicle fab getting chased by docks. Fortunately, it gets defended. The T2 vehicle factory does not go down here. There is another force on the way, however. It is going single file. Military count even now. Boombots wandering in single file. Taking down what they can. And again, Metapod. Admiral is really playing the pendulum here. Ooh, that's a lot of T2 vehicles factories. And the Kestrels still putting in their expansion work here. Admiral's eco starting to feel the pressure, down from about 280 to 230. He needs to play very, very well with the units he has. He doesn't want to lose too many of them. He's got a little bit of an advantage at the moment. It's not enough to write home about yet. But here we have a nice concave broadside, as it were. Boombot's still wandering in. Turret turn speed. Just a little too good there for the Boombots. But again, it has to be noted, Admiral's air game is picking up. These Kestrels are now not going to be used so much for raiding as defense. That's going to be necessary here. We've got some shellers out as well. That's really good to see. Oh dear. That was a bit of miss micro there as the air went kamikaze in there. Air comes back to defend the comm. Sees the Kestrels floating around there. Wants it gone. Sees the opportunity to completely smother it, and it's gone. Down it goes. But the T2 vehicle factory is going to go down here. This is going to be the decider. Can Admiral base trade here? Can he do it? He's losing his factories in his base at the same time. He will be able to defend against the force, but he's lost his T2 vehicle factories. How much damage can he lay in now? The Kestrels there used for defense as predicted. Down goes the force. So I think certainly Metapod came out on top there. Can he focus down this T2 vehicle factory? This is going to be a very big win if he can do this. The Slammer's still alive. It's not quite going to happen, but the Boombots can come in and finish it off if there's enough of them from a strange, obscure angle. The air game is still contested. A fabricator army is still a thing. And the T2 vehicle factories really are getting pumped out now from Metapod. He's up to 400 eco. Admiral is re-expanding. He's up from 230 to 260. Oh wow. The air fabs have been busy. Look at this. This is very beautiful. It's exactly what Metapod wants. He wants the control. He wants the power in this game. And he's done so well with his air at just containing Admiral. Admiral has been trying so hard. And is succeeding. He just needs to be a bit more on the ball with his air. That's the thing. Metapod can strike anywhere, and oh, thank goodness. I thought we were going to see a Manhattan out for a second. But no, we've got levelers and shellers moving in on a comm. The air's over there. They can move in to help support this, but there's a commander in jeopardy, and the air is idle. Here it comes. There we go. Commander will hide behind a factory for as long as is possible. There go the shellers, the bombers, cancelling their moves over these slammers and levelers. Got a bit of micromanagement there. Down they go. Metapod using everything at his disposal. We've got boom bots, we've got air, we've got bots, we've got vehicles. It's great. We've even got a Titan. Oh, insult to injury. He's got the surround, he's got the unit advantage. You're probably looking at that thinking, no he hasn't. He's got fewer units, he has. And I'm thinking, well, Admiral's got a whole bunch of useless hummingbirds, hasn't he? Not entirely useless, of course, they're needed for defense against the Kestrels, but against land forces like this, they are entirely useless. As his bombers are not in the right place to deal with these level of forces, they are far too superior. Admiral's base is in ruins. And there is naught left in this game. To keep Admiral alive. He's losing his units now. He's only got his air force remaining. I think we'll see the GG very, very shortly indeed. The only thing that Admiral can try to do here is a comm snipe. He could do it, you know. Oh no, never mind. Until I saw the flak, I thought he could do it. I think that's what he tried to do and then thought better of it because of the flak. But the thing is now, though, even if he can defend against this ground force, he's got to rebuild from scratch. How's his economy doing? It's doing okay. Not doing too bad. But his comm is running away from levelers. And that is never what you want to be doing. Unless, of course, your levelers cannot shoot. But down they go. Fantastic. Great best of 3 there. Fantastic play from Metapod. And valiant displays there from AdmiralGeneral as well. Very gallant attempts. Till next time, though, I hope you very much enjoyed that. If you have any thoughts about what these players could have done differently, let me know in the comments. Till next time, though, you know what to do. I've been Marshall, folks. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.